Welcome back to Tech S City, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Soundblaster Z from Creative. Now, there's two models of this. There's a Creative Z, well, there's also the ZX, which just includes some controller module, and then there's the ZXR. So the ZXR has a different DAC on board. However, the Creative Z, which is the $80 model, includes a really good DAC on board. I think it's the Cirrus Logic. So it's got a really good DAC on it. Anyway, let's look at what you get in the package first. Basically, this comes packaged pretty damn well. When you first unbox it, it's packaged to a piece of plastic that's sort of strapped in, and I don't see it really getting damaged in shipping. There was a little bit of shake though in the package, so be mindful of that. Maybe if the postman is overzealous, and maybe it could get damaged in shipping, but I see it's highly unlikely. Now, unboxing this thing. First of all, it comes with a CD drive for driver installation. You also pick up the unit straight away, and you notice that it is pretty damn impressive. It also comes with a beam foaming microphone, which honestly I haven't used because today I'm not really going to be recommending this product. There's actually, in my opinion, some design flaws, and we're going to talk about that soon, but let's talk about what you get. I mean, the actual product itself. It feels really good. It's a well-built product. It comes with a nice Creative Soundblaster Z shield. It looks good. It lights up red. There's a fancy red LED that lights up. And, overall it's got a black PCB, so it looks pretty good on the back as well. It's pretty snugly. It's a nice slim fit, and the rear has all gold-plated connectors on it. So the build quality of this sound card is really good. I'd say the LED would get a little bit annoying, which would lead me to give it about a 9 out of 10 for build quality. I mean, it does feel really solid. It feels like a good product. However, that's where the good points kind of end for this, because I'm going to get onto the negatives first, because if you're buying this product, it's important that you know what is wrong with it. Basically, it comes with a nice headphone amp that's really powerful. Basically, when I was surprised, I could only turn this thing down. I could only have this at 20 when I was listening to my headphones. It was that damn loud. Any louder would be like deafening listening levels for me. The headphone amp is really powerful, but it has a major flaw, and that is that when I was listening through this headphone amp, the soundstage was severely nullified. Like it was just like the soundstage was missing. I tested this on games, I did some music, and the soundstage really just got bricked. This was on my Fidelio X1s, which have really good soundstage. Even the onboard audio sounded a hell of a lot better for soundstage than the Creative Z did. Now, if you're buying a flagship product, this shouldn't be happening. I mean, I did correct it when I turned the volume up to 100, and I used I'll show you here. I used the inline volume control on the V-Motor Pro, Boom Pro, to control the volume, but not everyone will have a volume control. So a lot of people have to use the Windows volume control, and when you do that, it's severely, I don't know what's going on with the sound card, but it doesn't do it on the Realtek. If I turn the Realtek down to 20 and put it on through an amp, the sound stage is still okay. So it's not Windows' fault. I believe it's the Creative Z's fault. So that's the first negative of this sound card, if you're going to buy it. The second negative is that the microphone the amp, man, it's a flagship product. You shouldn't be putting a crap amp on the ADC. It just, when I put it on, I, did a mic test, it sounded worse than the onboard audio. I mean, what the hell? This is a flagship product. Put a good freaking amp on the mic in. I'm not even going to do a test for you guys because it was terrible. It was just like hissing and there was noise coming through. The onboard audio sounded better. An MSI onboard audio solution had a better amp on the mic in than a flagship Creative Z product. Pretty pathetic. I mean, a $30 DGX from Asus has a really good amp on the mic in. So I was just a little bit disappointed with that. I mean, it doesn't now. Another point is that it doesn't share. I mean, they make the mic in and the line in share the same port. I mean, I don't like that, but it was, I knew that before I bought the product. If that was the only flaw with this product, I could live with it. But the fact that the headphone out is not that good, like it's got a flaw. The mic in, the amp on it sounds crap. And then there's also another problem with it. So, and that is that there's also people who are getting the audio control modules and saying that reduces the sound quality as well. So if you're getting the ZX model, just be careful of that. So I don't know if this problem plagues the ZXR. I mean, I hope it doesn't. but the Creative Z just has those two, in my opinion, flaws, fundamental flaws that just don't make them that good. I'm going to say a good thing about this though. When I hooked this up to the Objective 2, it sounded phenomenal. This sound card really came to life. The stereo direct out, it's got an option in the menu to put stereo direct out. And when I did that through the Objective 2, this sound card sounded phenomenal. It really did sound crystal clear. It sounded better than the onboard audio, sounded better than my M Audio Fast Track. It was really good. So if you want to couple this with an amplifier, even a FiiO X6, then I could recommend doing that. But you shouldn't have to do that on a flagship product, so I'm going to be saying that again. Okay, so let's move on now to a point that I didn't like. So when I hooked this up to the O2 amplifier, even when I hooked this up to the O2 amplifier and using the software suite, the SBX Surround, which was the reason why I bought this, it just didn't sound that good. Like I was playing my games and it really didn't sound that good. You know, when I watched YouTube videos of the CMSS 3D, which is Creative's own technology, that sounded better than the SBX Surround. I mean, why did they get rid of CMSS 3D? I thought it sounded really good when I was watching the YouTube videos and people showing demos of it. And then I hear SBX Studio, and even watching the demos of the SBX Studio just to check if it wasn't just my unit or maybe settings, it sounded bad. I didn't like it. So I don't know why Creative's done that with the software. But anyway, we'll get on to the good points about this card. A, it's built well. B, the software suite is really good. It's lightweight. We'll go through it now with you guys. I mean, the software is really good. I like it. We'll go through here. So here's the first screen. You've got SBX Pro Studio. Now in here you've got a lot of options. I mean, this program is lightweight. It won't affect your FPS at all. So that's something I like about Creative. They have made a really good software package this time around. Now the first option here, you go into the menu, you have SBX Pro Studio. You can select from Surround, Crystallizer, and Bass. You can turn these settings on. Personally, I just left them all off because they weren't that good. I mean, the Crystallizer was good. I thought it was like a fun setting. The Crystallizer was a fun setting. If it was one setting out of the three that I really liked and enjoyed, it was the Crystallizer. It did sort of give it a nice live sort of echoey effect that didn't distort the sound really. The bass it distorted the bass a lot. I didn't really like that setting. It was like an echoey bass that sounded crap. And then you got smart volume as well, which is a good feature if you're listening to a lot of music or a lot of things that just have, you know, huge variances in the volume. So they've got some good things in there. And the crystal voice, this is something I really like about the software side. I mean, the amp sucked, but the software was really good. You've got a voice enhancer where you can change your voice into a munchkin or all this other kind of stuff. So it's got some cool features there. So if you play video games and you hear people sounding like girls, high-pitched girls, it's because they're probably using this software and changing their voice into a high-pitched girl. Now the monitoring type here, you can switch from the microphone. You can change it to the line in as well. Here as well, you can change it to the line in and a microphone if you wish to. You've got the mic volume there, which you can set in the mic boost. So just your standard settings there. You've also got your standard settings which come in the Windows as well, noise reduction and that stuff. But Scout mode, that's another setting that I have mixed opinions about. I think in some games it did work well. Like when I played Call of Duty Ghosts, it kind of did emphasize the footsteps, which I thought was pretty cool. But in sort of games like Heroes of New Earth, it just sounded terrible. So, I mean, I think it's a hit or miss for the game you're playing. So Scout mode can work. It just depends on the game. This is the speaker and headphone section. Now, this is pretty cool. I mean, you've got some good settings here. You want to select full range speakers. It'll give you, I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. I couldn't really hear a difference, but I mean, hey, you want the most, you know, frequencies coming to your speakers as possible. But you know, you've got options here of stereo direct. You've got here headphones, and you've got stereo, just standard stereo. So if you use stereo direct, you cannot use the SBX settings on the output. However, if you change it to stereo, you can use the settings, you know, the core 3D processing, and you can get the fancy effects like Crystallizer, you know, DDS surround and stuff like that. Let's move on now to the cinematic. So this is a cool part as well. I mean, the software is really good on this. I'm not going to lie, the software features on this card are really good. They are indicative of a flagship product. And you've got here the option to encode to Dolby Digital. You've got here to code DDS surround, and you can do it in cinema mode or music mode. And both the cinema mode and music mode actually sounded pretty good. For gaming, they didn't really make a difference. I just preferred the normal stereo direct. But you know, they do offer a different sort of feeling. For movies, it did sound pretty good. I watched a movie and it sounded really good. So the cinema mode actually does work pretty well. I like it. The mixer, when we move on to the mixer, you just got your standard settings on your speakers here, and you've got your what you hear. This is the bit where you can change from rear into the rear line in. Now, if you're like, well, I want to plug two in at the same time, which is what I do, you can just hook up a front panel audio and use that for your microphone in, and then use the rear as your line in, and you can switch between them. So it's not really that big of a problem. The Equalizer, this is actually another cool feature of this software package. And you know, you can select, they've got different EQs here. I made my own EQ for gaming, and that was just a slight bump in the mids. You know, and that really worked well. I mean, I think EQing is just for that little enhancement. I don't really like EQing too much, as I think it starts, if you go way overboard with EQ, it distorts the sound way too much. But this EQ software works really well. You can save your own profiles in there, and I really like it. Let's look at the advanced features of this card. You know, it's just got here play stereo, mix to digital out, so that was really all that was there. Nothing to talk about much there. You've got the profiles as well. So another good thing about this sound card is you can select from different profiles, and you can save one profile for audio file, maybe stereo direct out, another profile, you know. And the good thing is you can save that stereo direct profile and have it at 24-bit 44.1 kilohertz, which is most likely all your FLAC's going to be ripped in. And then you can set the gaming profile on just stereo and have it at 24-bit 48 kilohertz. Okay, so in conclusion, this sound card, I mean, it has a lot of things that could have made it a flagship product. I mean, if it wasn't for those two crucial flaws, this thing would have been a really good product. I mean, 3 if you count the SBX Studio not sounding as good as CMSS 3D. So, I mean, those 3 flaws, in my opinion, just make this a not recommended by me. I mean, Creative, I think they need to fix the soundstage on the headphone out. I think they need to put a better amp on the mic in, and I think they should also put a line in as a separate port. I mean, I've got these other freaking ports that I never use. You know, if I'm going to use surround sound, I'm going to use a freaking coax, or, you know, a digital out. So, I mean, come on, Creative, get on your game. This is, if you're labeling this as a flagship product, you should have it. You know, it shouldn't have these flaws. It should have a good amp on the mic, and it should have a really good headphone out that works properly. However, I will say, if you want to get this as an audiophile grade card to couple with a headphone amp, then it is a recommended buy. Even if you want to get something like an E6 from FIO, that'll make a big difference. So overall, I'm going to recommend this card if you know its weaknesses. I mean, I just think, you know, they could have done these things, and this card would have been a 10 out of 10. It would have been just so amazing, because the DAC on this does sound better than the Realtek ALC 1150. I'll be doing a review comparing a few different DACs for you guys and giving you my thoughts, but yeah, this does sound a little bit better. The sub bass is a lot better. It's got a nice little bit of warmth in there that makes it sound really cool. You know, yeah, so that's the sound signature of the DAC, I guess, if you want to know how it compares to the Realtek 1150. But all in all, yeah, I just, you know, I'm not going to test the microphone, the beamforming microphone. I'm just going to be selling this because, you know, I just keep that microphone new, and I'll just sell this because I just wasn't impressed with the product. I mean, I think if you're buying an $80 sound card, it shouldn't have those flaws. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you have any comments about the Soundblaster Z, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And peace out for now. I'll catch you guys in a tech video soon. Bye.